top 1% realtor in the nation. He's a former Cathedral High School grad, former Utah football player. So we want to give him some time to come up. We're excited to have him here. Jack, come on down.
Come on, y'all, coaches up in here. Let's go. Come on now. What we doing? Let's motivate these kids. Now, when I say hard work, you say pays off. Hard work. Pays off. Hard work. Pays off. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm here to talk to you guys today about working hard, about grinding, about persevering, and about taking you and your student athletes to the next level. My name is Jack 𝗏𝗏. As they said, please do not hold it against me that I'm a Cathedral graduate. I went there on a scholarship. I should have went to Andrews High School. My best friend growing up was a guy by the name of 𝗲𝗏𝐼𝐾𝐜. Some of you guys remember him. 𝗲𝗏𝐼𝐾𝐜 and I actually lived 3 houses down from each other. So I should have been an Andrews Eagle, but I was in a position, and I'll give you a little information about that, about superseding your goals. But first, a little bit about myself. I'm one of 6 children. Grew up in the Northeast El Paso. My father, obviously my size, a big German man. My mama, a little Mexican Jew. So that's what you have before you. This is what a German and a Mexican Jew look like. This is what you get right here. A 6'4", 265-pound male. Now they call me the milkman, baby, because all my siblings are 5'6" and under. The only different thing about me is my dad's blonde hair and blue eyes, and I look exactly like him, but I have my mama's dark hair, okay? So growing up, Daddy was old school. He joined the military at 17 years old, lied about who he was, how old he was, and joined the military. He had 6 kids, and Daddy's philosophy was this: if I'm going to have them, I'm going to support them. Daddy never took financial aid. He never took food stamps. He never took WIC. He said, if I was man enough to have these kids, I need to be man enough to support these kids. Thus began my work ethic. Thus began my who I am, what I am, and why I do it. So he worked hard. Daddy was a mechanic. So he supported 6 kids, a mama who stayed at home, a good Catholic family, went to Mass every morning, and he worked his butt off. But growing up, Dad was a farmer. And as a farmer in Ohio, you had to live off of the land, and they did. My dad did not have a first piece of meat or chicken from the restaurant, from the grocery store until he was 18 years old in the military. They lived off what they caught and ate, and that was what he did. So, as I said before, that's how my career started. I began to develop a little bit of athletic ability, a little bit of mojo, a little bit of swagger, as they call it, and I was in 8th grade at the time. There was a gentleman by the name of 𝐕 𝐶𝐚. I don't know if you remember who 𝐕 𝐶𝐚 is. Anyone? Yes, amazing man, 𝐕 𝐶𝐚. 𝐕 saw me playing in the 8th grade, and he said, son, would you be interested in going to Cathedral? I said, Cathedral High School, I'm going to be an Andrews Eagle. He said, well, if you're interested in coming to Cathedral High School, come talk to me. I said, Coach, we can't afford it. We don't make money. Once a year, we went to Kmart, and I got myself a pair of McGregor shoes. That's how we would do it. McGregor's what I wore. I didn't know that those were lower level shoes until you get to the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and they start clowning you for that. But that's what we wore, McGregor. Anyway, opportunities come in your life, folks. And if you don't seize those opportunities, who knows what's going to happen? 𝐕 𝐶𝐚 left me that day, and he said, son, if you're interested in coming to Cathedral High School, call me. That's all he told me as a 13, going to be 14-year-old boy. Call me. Guess what I did the very next day? I called Cathedral High School. And I said, may I speak with Coach 𝐶𝐚? Because at the time, he wasn't a principal yet. Coach 𝐶𝐚, Jack 𝗏𝗏 calling. He answers the phone. He says, how can I help you? I said, Coach, this is Jack 𝗏𝗏. You saw me yesterday at the Northeast. I was playing, da-da-da. Who are you, son? Da-da. We talked about it. He said, Coach, I'm interested in talking to you about Cathedral High School. He said, well, do you know the tuition is about $6,000 a year? And I said, I understand that, but you said we can make a way. He said, I'll tell you what, bring your parents here, come talk to me. I said, when, Coach? He said, when can you have me here? I said, today. I called my dad who worked at Courtesy Chevrolet. Remember Courtesy Chevrolet? I said, Dad, I don't ask you for a lot, but we need to meet a gentleman by the name of 𝐕 𝐶𝐚. He's got an opportunity for me and us. I take Dad down to Cathedral High School with my mom, and Coach 𝐶𝐚 says this, all right, Mr. 𝗏𝗏, I'll make you a deal. You play 3 varsity sports a year, football, basketball, baseball, track. You serve lunch in the kitchen. You come on the summertime and you scrape the gum off the desk and you paint the schools. You can come to Cathedral free of charge. Guess what I said? That's all. Literally, that's what I said. Thus the reason I got a free education at Cathedral High School, because I worked for it. Then something interesting happened. All my life, people say, you can't do it. You're from Cathedral High School. No one from Cathedral High School plays Division I football. No one from Cathedral High School has ever done this. Well, there was a gentleman by the name of 𝗲𝗃 who believed in me, who was my coach at Cathedral High School back in the day. And on my Letterman's jacket, Coach, you remember the name you gave me? Monday night. Because Cephas thought I was going to be playing Monday night football one of these days. With that being said, I did what everyone said I couldn't do. I went to Cathedral, I went to UTEP. Charlie Beatty, David Lee at the time was coach there. He said, I believe in you, even though you're from Cathedral High School, you have the size, you have the speed, you have the sting, and more importantly, you have the tenacity. Thus began my career at UTEP. 4th on the depth chart. Freshman year, get a little bit of playing time. Sophomore year comes up, I'm 3 on the depth chart as a defensive end. 2 guy in front of me gets hurt. Number 1 player, a senior, all WAC performer, goes down with an ACL injury. 3rd game of the season, I'm thrust into the starting lineup. And I only have 2 sacks that first game. I only had 4 tackles for loss that game. And the reason I mention that to you because there was an opportunity presented to me. And I don't want you to sit here and think that I just dominated that game and I just tore it up and I just destroyed. But guess what I learned? If a quarterback's running out of bounds and I touch him before he goes out, guess what happens? I was in the papers as known as 2-Sack Jack at the time. It was an opportunity that was presented before me and I took advantage of that opportunity. All right, let's move forward. I'm one of the 18% of UTEP athletes that actually got a degree. That's a statistic. It may have changed recently. I took advantage of it. I got a bachelor's degree in 3.5 years. My senior year at UTEP, I was in graduate school, and I was focusing and persevering and grinding, and like every kid my age, wanted to make the NFL. But you know what? I didn't make the NFL. I went to the combine. I did everything I was supposed to do. And recently, I saw a friend of mine. Those of you guys know Chris Wales? Anyone know Chris Wales, super phenom? He's a great athlete, played for us at UTEP. He said, Jack, I've got a lot of reservations. I got a lot of regrets. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that at UTEP. What's your biggest regret about UTEP? And I looked him square in the eyes and I said, Chris, I have no regrets. Because what I was given, I gave everything that I had. There's a famous Jerry Rice quote that I had over my life that's in my kids' house, that's over their beds, and it's Jerry Rice famous quote that says what? I will do today what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. Others won't sacrifice. Others won't do the things that we're willing to do. Fast forward, my first job at the YMCA. With a master's degree in hand, I started out making $18,500. Who remembers me from the YMCA in here? A lot of people from the YMCA, $18,500. Jack, why would you take a job for $18,500? You got a master's degree. Because I've done one thing in my life, folks. I bet on myself every time. That's what you're here to do today, is to instill confidence in your kids so they can bet on themselves. And I'm a living, breathing example of what betting on yourself can do. Took a job at $18,500 as a sports director. 3 years later, I'm executive director. 5 years later, I get an opportunity to work at the Boys and Girls Club, and I become the youngest CEO in the United Way history at 28 years old to run an organization. We start the organization with 3 units, 275 kids. 5 years later, we have 5 units, 1,800 kids. We bring in programs like the Junior MBA. We bring mentors. I get UTEP football players involved, basketball players, track players. We get these kids motivated. Then something different happens to me. I was tasked with raising $1 million for the Boys and Girls Club. That's a lot of money in El Paso, isn't it? But don't give me a goal and tell me I can't do it, because guess what? I'll prove you wrong. Just like all of you in this audience here, you're coaches. Because someone impacted you and someone told you you can't do it. So fast forward, I raised $1 million for the Boys and Girls Club of El Paso in 1 year. Yes, $1 million. Not a team, not a bunch of people. $1 million was raised. The board comes back to me and says, wow, we didn't think you could do it. We threw that big, hairy, audacious number out there not thinking that you could do it, hoping you could get $250,000. Thus began my search and saying, when you're a CEO, you don't deal with the kids as much. So I decided to do something someone else said I couldn't do. Be my own business maker. Now I wanted to start a Chick-fil-A real bad, folks, because those are guaranteed money makers. The franchise here in El Paso, they have about 20 to 22,000 people apply for the franchise, just each one here in El Paso. Edgar, who's a friend of mine, do a lot of real estate for, he's got 2 of them. 22,000 people applied for his franchise on Mesa and Bartlett. 22,000 people. So I said, okay, let me go get a McDonald's. Well, if you want to buy the McDonald's franchise name, you better have $500,000 because that's what they charge you. So didn't have that on me. So I said, what can I do? How can I change the world? How can I impact? How can I do something different? How can I be not like everyone else out there? Thus, real estate came into the equation. At that time, I'm 30 years old. I've got a wife, a child, and she's pregnant. I had 2 months worth of reserves in my pocket. But I did what everyone said I couldn't do. I bet on myself. I said, if I sink, if I fall, if I drown, I got no one to blame but me in the mirror over there. So I went into an industry where you only get paid when you perform. There's no check guaranteed to me. I only get paid, guess when? When I close a real estate transaction. So I didn't know any better. What I did when I got licensed in July, and this July makes 16 years, I made 5,000 flyers, and I went out. True story, my wife's in the background over there. She dropped me off at the Taco Cabana at Mesa in Sunland Park. At 8:30 in the morning, I said, come back and pick me up at 5 p.m. And for 2.5 months in the hot sun, I went with door hangers and put them on doors. 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 And that yielded me 2 sales. Let's fast forward so we don't get too long-winded in it. First 6 months, 5,000 door hangers. Years 2 to 3, I sold $5 million in sales. Let's put this in perspective. The average real estate in America, average real estate agent in America gets licensed. Within the last 5 years, 51% of them have not closed one real estate transaction. In the last 5 years, the average real estate agent in America sells 4 to 5 real estate transactions, which is about $800,000 in sales, which equals about $22,000 a year. Years 2 to 3, $5 million in sales. Years 4 to 5, $7 to $8 million in sales. Years 10 through 15, years 5 to 10, $15 million in sales. Years 11 through 14, $20 million in sales. Years 2017, $23 million. Last year, $30 million. Yada, yada, the numbers. That's why I get to speak. Because people are like, you sold 137 homes last year? How did you do it? I did it by a simple philosophy, putting others first. I did it by a simple philosophy, grind it, not being afraid to work, not being afraid to get off it, not thinking anyone owes me anything. And that's what you need to teach your kids today. You know, I have a daughter that's 21 years old, and she's a product of EPSD. She graduated 3 years ago. She'll be a senior at Texas Tech. I see Montenegro here. Our daughters played together. There's a lot of you that are there. The reason she's doing well at Texas Tech because she played sports. Y'all remember Christy Graham? Christy was no nonsense at Coronado at the time, wasn't it? You didn't like it, her way or the highway, get out. But my daughter has persevered through sports and was able to do something with her life. All right, guys, there's 2 types of agents, just like there's 2 types of coaches. There's a transitional type agent who worries about the current deal, who worries about getting a paycheck, a commission. Just like there's 2 types of coaches out there. One who focuses on the current game, one who focuses on the current season, and one who's there to pick up a paycheck. That's what you are in this room. Or there's a relational type real estate agent or relational type coach who focuses on the relationship, who focuses on making a world changer. It's your job as coaches to change these kids. It's your job out there as coaches to impact these kids. I'm not standing here today worthy for coaches in my life. When people meet you, they're asking 3 questions. When your athletes come to meet you, they're asking you 3 questions. Here's the 3 questions. Who are you? What are you offering? And most importantly, why should I care? Who are you? What are you offering? And why should I care? The most important emotion one can have to be successful, guess what it is? This is done by a survey of 350,000 successful Fortune 500 business companies. The most important emotion one can have to be successful, guess what it is? Anyone, throw something out there. Well, here it is, confidence. See, I made my millions of dollars in real estate because I had confidence. They told me it can't be done. You can't sell more than 50 houses. You can't sell more than 60 houses. You can't sell more than 70 houses. This is El Paso. People don't do it. People don't buy it. But until my mind said, you know what, you can do 50. Ooh, I did 50. Hey, you know what, you can do 75. I did 75. You can't do 100. My mind battled with me for 3 years. You can't close 100 real estate transactions in El Paso, Texas. I hit 100. You can't do 125, can you? So now I'm at 137. This year, I'll probably close 150 real estate transactions. And the only reason I made that and did that because my mindset. I had the ability to believe I could do something that others said I can't do. Guess what, guys? Your coaches out here. The impact that you have is far greater than anyone else in that school. The impact that you have is probably greater than a lot of these kids' parents. If you can affect and change their minds, you can make world changers. Charles Cephas affected my mind. He doesn't even know that. He allowed me to believe that I could walk into UTEP as a freshman from Cathedral High School and compete. Now, did it all go my way? Absolutely not. But what it did allow me to do is when I got my butt kicked and I got down, I didn't do what most kids do nowadays. When kids go through a little adversity, what do, coaches? They quit. They crumble. It's our job as coaches to keep them persevering. All right. Coaching is your job. Impacting lives is your business. Coaching is your job. That's how you pay the bills, right? That's how you pay that mortgage every month. Coaching is your job. Impacting lives is your business. All right, guys, this was a quote that for me changed my business, changed my life, changed my marriage, changed my fathering. Listen to this quote. The most powerful and least expensive way to deepen a relationship with a student athlete or someone you would like to be as an athlete is to send them a handwritten note. Every day when I come into my office, girls, come on down. Every day when I come into my office, the first thing I do every single day is write a handwritten note to 10 different people. And that handwritten note says, thanks for all that you do. Happy birthday. How's your kid doing that broke his arm? I'm trying to be a relational type person. If you only care about your kids when they come to you after school, they know you don't care. How many of you in here have reached out to your kids over the summer to see if they're working out? How many of you have written your kids a handwritten note? So what we're going to do, this is going to be interactive because you're coaches. The girls are walking by right now with a card, small little card and an envelope. I want you right now to get in your mind an athlete that you want to write a handwritten card to. We're going to take 5 minutes to do that, and I want you to say anything that comes to your heart. Javier, look forward to football season coming up. I know you've been grinding this summer. Can't wait for 2 days to start. Samantha, we're going to have a great volleyball season this year. Just want you to know I appreciate all that you do for us at Burgess High School. How many people in this room, if they get a handwritten letter in the mail, throw it away? You have 99.99% guaranteed open rate because everything's automated. No one's doing the easy thing, and no one's doing the hard things anymore. No one's writing a handwritten note. It's important for you guys to change these kids' lives. And if a child doesn't know or doesn't think that you care about them, then they're not going to perform for you to their highest level. So we're going around. We're going to pass out some cards. We're going to take 5 minutes. I want you guys to think of that athlete and get them a handwritten note. You know, I'm a product of EPS. My kids are products of EPSD. My son is a 7th grader going to go into 8th grade. And at Lincoln High School, his coach is Coach Gonzalez. Coach Gonzalez, are you here this evening? Cesar Gonzalez? Yeah, he's back there. Coach Kirchrock, his basketball coach. You know what Coach Gonzalez does to my son? He writes him a handwritten note. When I go over my son's bed today, the note that Coach Gonzalez wrote him, thanking him for what he did for the football season, guess what's directly above his bed? A note from Coach Gonzalez thanking him for what he did and congratulating him for being an AB honor student. Guys, that's the impact you have. I write my kids all kind of letters and thanking him. He doesn't have anything on my wall from me. He's got it from his coach because that's the impact that they have. All right, Sally, how are we doing on those cards? We're passing that out. So let's take about 5 minutes, please. Do y'all have pens or do you need pens? We have pens as well. Think of that youth, that child that you want to have an impact on. Think of that athlete that you feel can take his or her game to the next level. Think of that young man that you've been trying to get to join the track team. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It's the thought that counts. The average real estate agent in America is spending $15,000. Average top real estate agent in America is spending $15,000 a month on Zillow leads. True story. I write 10 handwritten cards a day, and I sell more than all of them. What does that cost me? A stamp. The proof is in the pudding. You write a handwritten note, you are guaranteed for that youth to open it up, and you're guaranteed to have a lasting impact on their life. Does everyone have a card? No? Doesn't have to be over the top. Whatever comes to your heart about that youth, I promise you they will keep that card, they will cherish it, and they will know that you care about them. If you can't think of an athlete, write to your spouse. Dear Esperanza, I want to thank you for making me those burritos in the morning. I want to thank you for always having the house clean. I want to thank you for picking up the dog poops when I'm tired at night. All right, does everyone have a card now? Rachel. Okay, let's take about 3 more minutes. I got a lot more to say in a little time and a short time to do it. I got a text from Mike Beltran. Coach Beltran, are you in here? He said, don't be long-winded. We want to get these coaches out of here. So I'm trying to get you all out of here. Write that youth's name on the front of the card when you're done. Hand deliver it. Put it in the mail, put it in his or her locker, in his or her, area that they have, and watch what that happens to that youth. Got about 2 more minutes. How's everyone doing? You guys almost finishing up there? Adrian, we know you got all the talent in El Paso, but you still got to write to one of them, okay? True story, 𝗲𝗎 Wallace was an employee of mine at the Boys and Girls Club back in the day. And he had an impact on the youth from the Eisenhower projects, didn't you, Adrian? About 60 more seconds. Let it come from your heart. P.S. I'm here if you need anything. Here to serve. Your name, your signature. Looking forward to seeing you accomplish great things. Your signature. Wise up or rise up, your signature. In it to win it, your signature. We came, we saw, we won them all, your signature. I can go on for days. Okay, keep finishing up as I'm speaking. I'm going to move on to the next portion of it. You see, for me in my real estate business, 90% of what I do is done by referral. And why do people refer me? Because clients refer when they get more than they were expected to give. The number one complaint about a real estate agent in America, in El Paso, is lack of communication. Number one complaint about a coach is, guess what? I don't know what he or she wants. I don't know what they expect of me. They never communicate. They don't tell me if I'm doing good or if I'm doing bad. We got to communicate. See, athletes perform at a higher level when they're appreciated. When Mickey Mays was my defensive line coach and he came to me and he put his arm around my shoulder and he said, son, I believe in you. I think you can do better than what you're doing. Something inside of me snapped. Something inside of me made me want to work extra hard for this little 5'0" man from Alabama who had a famous saying, by the way. His famous saying was, "Don't tell me about the pain, show me the baby." From Alabama. Don't tell me about the pain, just show me the baby. Y'all get that? Your coaches, y'all should get that. I'm not going to have to explain that one, all right? Don't tell me about the pain, how much it hurt, how bad it was, how you were in labor for 10 and a half hours, how the epidural went the wrong. No, I don't care about that. Show me the baby. All right, here's some good stuff, guys, that I found. 5 characteristics of a top high school athlete. 5 characteristics. Number 1, they show up whether they want to or not. How many of you are having off-season workouts and you can't get your kids to show up? I guarantee if you wrote a handwritten card to each one of those kids, your enrollment will come up. Number 2, they understand who they are. How many times do we see on interviews in the World Soccer Cup, the girls just won, what do they say? I'm just being me. I'm just trying to be me. They understand who they are. Number 2, they maintain a positive perspective, avoiding emotion. We have emotional kids, don't we? But keep their perspective where it needs to be. Number 4, they believe they are the best. Now you can be confident and not cocky. Sergio Montenegro is confident but not cocky. Sorry, I bust Sergio's chops all the time. And number 5, they don't wallow in disappointment. 5 characteristics of a top high school athlete. They show up whether they want to or not. They understand who they are. They maintain a positive perspective, avoiding emotion. They believe they are the best, and they don't wallow in disappointment. Guys, America is changing very rapidly. Regardless of the political aisle you're on, regardless of what's happening, but America is changing. We are still the greatest country in the world, and there's still more people trying to get in our country than any other country in the world. But there's some crazy things happening in America. Here's a statistic. In the last 10 years, 80% of new millionaires in America are first-generation immigrants. 80% of new millionaires in America in the last 10 years are first-generation immigrants. And it's not what you're thinking. They're not corporate people. It's Julio's bug and pest control with 1 truck. Julio gets 2 trucks. 5 years later, Julio has 15 trucks. Yes, college is great, but according to Fortune 500, if you want to get paid, get into the trades. Who's hired a plumber here recently in El Paso? Who's hired an electrician? Those are $100K plus jobs. In my industry, who's bought a house in here? Raise your hand if you bought a house. Everyone's bought a house. You remember when you bought that house, they sent an appraiser out there? That appraiser went out there, he or she looked at the property, they said, okay, you're offering $186,000 based on the comps. We believe this house is worth $186,000. There is a shortage of appraisers in America right now. And guess why? The younger generation thinks it's too much work. You only pay me $450 to go out and appraise the house? Too much work. Too much work. There was a survey done on what makes a good or bad coach. The survey done, what makes a good or bad coach. And guess what the number 1 characteristic a coach had or didn't have that made a successful impact on a child or made a successful season? Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the most important thing that you can relate to these youth, to these kids, to make them achieve, to make them have greatness in life. Are you excited when you come to work every morning? Are you excited when you see these kids and it's 4 p.m. at night, in the afternoon it's 105 degrees? Are you excited to do that? Because if you're not, your kids aren't going to be. Enthusiasm is the most important attribute you can have. All right, here's some fun stuff that you're going to like about our youth, to know what they're facing right now. The average youth in America receives how many texts a month? 4,000. The average teen in America receives 4,000 texts a month. Now here's to you old folks out here, over 25. 53% of you all report checking your text or email while driving. People check their email up to 40 times per hour. 67% check their phone for messages even when the phone doesn't go off or the light doesn't go off. All right, here's for all you cochinos out there. 75% of you use your phone in the bathroom. 39% of you never go to the bathroom without your phone. 69% of you cannot go to sleep without checking Instagram, Facebook, or your email. 45% of you wake up in the middle of the night to check your email, to check your Facebook account, to check your Twitter accounts. But 98% of all emails sent in America aren't even open. They're all junk. So what is that telling you? The impact that you're going to have on a youth, the impact that you're going to have as a coach, is it going to be done through a text message? Is it going to be done through an email? It's going to be done how? Face to face. 91% of youth have their phones in arm reach 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We need to physically connect with our kids. We need to be a one-on-one mentor to our kids. What's the definition of connection? To relate or to be in harmony with another person. Are you connecting with your student athlete? Or are you just being coach? Are you connecting with your student athlete, or are you just telling, here's the workout, go do it? Are you connecting with your student athlete, or are you showing them how to do a proper squat? Are you connecting with your student athlete, or are you showing them how to jump off of the blocks? That's something you need to know. Here's what we have for these kids nowadays and how crazy their phone has gotten. What would you give up for your phone? 33% said they'd give up sex to have their phone. Half said they'd give up Cokes. Half said they'd give up exercise. 2/3 said they'd give up chocolate. 70% said they'd give up alcohol. And 43% said that they would give up shoes. So our kids, the kids in their shoe game, you know what I mean? My son said, Dad, I want a pair of these things called Yeezys. Yeezys? What's a Yeezy? I said, son, you get good grades? Yeah, we'll take care of it. I didn't know at the time, believe me or not. Do y'all know how much Yeezys are? Woo. Good thing I bought them used for him. Let's let you know that. He didn't know they were clean real nice. You know what I mean? Why do kids perform at a high level? Number one, a desire to share something good with friends or family. If a kid overachieves on or off the court, on or off the field, it's a desire that they had to share with their friends and family. They have a sense of trust. That's why kids perform at a high level. They trust you as coaches. They trust that what you're doing is in their best interest. Again, I'll go back to my son. I hired a quarterbacks coach for him. His name is Chris Wells. Chris Wells has my son out there 4 days a week at 3:30 in the hottest part of the sun. And people said, you're crazy for doing it. He said, Jack, trust me. If I'm going to have him in shape, if he's going to be out there at 3:30, he's going to be ready when season comes. I trust Chris Wells. My son trusts Chris Wells. So we're working out from 3:30 to 5, 4 days a week. And number one, the small stuff equals big rewards. All right. Shut this off. Can y'all hear me without the mic? Yes? No? All right. This is something that's pretty cool. I shut the mic off. Can y'all hear me pretty good? Okay. If you're an athlete, I got a bat here, and you want to make the major leagues, what do you have to bat to make the major leagues? Someone in this baseball, throw me a percentage out there. Just to make it, not to be an all-star. Just to make it. Someone said it, 250. Just to make it. Okay, hold on. We're talking about just to make it. So if you can make the majors and be part of the team, that means for every 100 times you go up to bat, 75 times you strike out, 75 times you fly out, 75 times you ground out, 75 times you pop out. But if you can get on base 25 times, guess what? You can make about $800,000 a year in the major leagues. So that means 25 times out of 100 you get on base. Now, if you're a perennial all-star in the major leagues, what do you have to bat? Thank you, 300. Everyone knew that. Let's focus on that. So that means that perennial all-star that goes up there, he goes up there the same 100 times. And the same thing he does, flies out, strikes out, pops out. He only gets on base 5 more times out of 100. 5 more times he gets on base. What does the average 300 average baseball player make in the major leagues today? $8 million a year. 5 more hits. What can you do as a coach here today to get your kid to do 5 more things? What can you do as a coach to make yourself better doing 5 more things? Bunch? Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Hey, if you're getting on base, nothing but love, right? That's what we're doing here. So that's an analogy right there that I want you to take back with you when you're talking to your kids. $250,000, $800,000, $300, $8 million a year. 5 more. Be the difference maker. Be the reason why these kids do 5. All right, I'm almost done here. How am I doing on time? Am I good? You guys ready to get home? Okay, so here's what I've come to realize over my life and over my career. And I'm 45 years old, by the way. Okay? Just by finishing, you outlast or beat 90% of the competition. Just by finishing. Just by showing up. Day in and day out, you beat 90% of the competition. Because guess what? I show up every single day. And I'm the most consistent real estate agent in El Paso, in my opinion. And there's nothing that anyone can do to convince me different. Here's a crazy statistic. Again, what our kids are up against and how hard it is to do sports. So I went to UTEP in 1993 on a football scholarship. The incoming class of freshmen in 1993, those of you who played here, had 45 incoming freshmen. 45 of us had dreams, aspirations, goals. We wanted to do something football related. Fast forward 4 years later, guess how many of us were left standing in 4 years? Close to 5, 7 of us. 45 entered, 7 made it. The reason the 7 made it is because they bought in. And the reason we bought in is because we had a coach that believed in us. You can be the difference maker right there. Why can't one of your youth be the difference maker, be the one who gets the scholarship? And you guys, it's not all about the scholarship. Again, I've got a daughter that's at Texas Tech right now. And because of basketball, because of Christy Graham, she's able to persevere. She's wanted to quit Tech 3 times because she's trying to get a degree in biology. It's the hardest degree out there. But she goes back to what made her successful, and that's her coach pushing her. That's her parents pushing her, and that's her knowing that she can do that. See, lack of consistency, guys, is the #1 goal killer out there. You can be all world. You can have the greatest kid out there. You can be a bad brother coach. But if you're not consistent with your youth, it doesn't mean anything. We've got to be consistent. These are some pretty cool things right there, and I don't want to get too long-winded, but I'm going to talk to you about that. How to build a relationship with a student-athlete. This is me thinking this. You need to have an over-the-top commitment to your student-athlete. Not just a commitment, an over-the-top commitment. You want to be the next greatest coach in El Paso? You want to be the next great thing? Have an over-the-top commitment to your youth. Now, I know you can't do this, and it's different over there, but how many of you coaches out here, and don't raise your hand, buy pizza with your own money or Chick-fil-A and brought your kids in there and said, we're going to have lunch together and we're going to talk? I'm not here to judge anyone, but I'm just saying, over-the-top commitment. Okay? #2, you need to have a do whatever it takes attitude. Do whatever it takes. I can only go off of what I know, and I don't know all of you in here. But we've got a little boy that lives in the Sandoval projects over here on the west side. Coach Gonzalez, I know him, lives on the east side. He picks this little boy up from the Sandoval project and brings him to games, brings him to practices when there's no ride there. Okay? Coach, I hope I didn't get you in trouble. No, all joking aside, he does what it takes to get there. Okay, #3. Listen to what the other youth, listen to what their needs are. How much time does the average American father spend with their children a day? Anyone? How much time? An hour? Not even close. 3 minutes. 3 minutes a day is what the average American youth father spends with their kids a day. 3 minutes. So as a coach, you have more impact than a father does. And then you need to take action. Ideas are worthless unless you act on them. Do you have goals for your kids? Do you have goals for yourself? Do you have goals for your team? Do you know that you achieve about 70 to 80% of your goals if you just write them down? Just write them down. I have goals in my bathroom when I came in. Every morning when I wake up. That first goal over there, be a better husband and father. That's my number one goal. I look at that every day. What am I doing to achieve that? Number 2, get this sexy body from 270 down to 250. That's number 2. I can go on and on with my goals. Real estate transactions this year, 150 transactions, $32 million in sales. I look at those every day when I brush my teeth. If you don't have a written goal, you're not going to accomplish anything. You've got to have a written goal, not only for you, for your teammates. Why? We're going to go football related because I'm a football guy. Sorry. I mean, that's what I do, football. Who's heard of Nick Saban in here? Anyone? Who does Nick Saban coach? Alabama. Who's heard of a running back named 𝗉𝐿𝐿 You guys heard of 𝗉𝐿 𝐿? Remember, he was the most highly touted running back to come out of high school. He was a blue chipper. He got scholarships to every college, every university you could think of. And they asked Alvin, why did you choose Alabama? And he says, I chose Alabama because Nick Saban wrote me 105 handwritten notes. Check it on the internet. The biggest, baddest, most winning coach in college football history wrote 105 handwritten notes to Alvin Kamara. He said, Alvin, did anyone else write you a handwritten note? Yeah, I got one or two from other coaches. Coach Saban, methodically, every single day wrote a note to Alvin Kamara saying, we want you here. We believe you're special. I can take you to the next level. I believe in you. You're special. You have great ability. Let me coach you. The biggest, baddest, number one college coach in America wrote 105 handwritten notes to one athlete. Why do you think Alvin Kamara went to Alabama? Not because of he couldn't go anywhere, because he felt Nick Saban really cared about him, he said. You hear all these interviews with these coaches and these players long after the fact, and they say, that's my family right there. That's my family. Got 2 more things and then we're out of here. Belief. Definition of belief. Trust or confidence, conviction, creation of code of conduct. A belief is a trust or confidence. Do your youth believe in you? Do you believe in your youth? Trust or confidence. A conviction. Man, you better be convicted in the sports world that we have nowadays. Okay? And a creation of a code of conduct. Greatness. Being trusting, teachable, and humble. Got to have that humbleness in there. And then for me, I put seek first to understand, then to be understood. Now I'm going to close with this. Any baby boomers in here tonight? No? Well, I'm Generation X. So I was born 73, so baby boomers would be before 60. So we see recently, and we've been seeing some of these articles that have come out about going to the moon. So in 1961, who was president at the time? Anyone, quickly. Thank you, Kennedy. Yes, I heard a bunch of different names that Kennedy was right. Kennedy was president. And in 1961, President Kennedy had a State of the Union. He came before the United States in front of millions of people, in front of TV, and he made a bold proclamation. He made an amazing proclamation. He made a proclamation that people said, you're crazy. President Kennedy in 1961 went before the United States people and the world and said, we're going to the... Thank you. Now here's the backstory behind that. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have the wherewithal. We didn't have a rocket that could go into space without exploding. But in 1961, the President of the United States said, we're going to the moon. We're going to do it in 10 years, he said. We did it in less. Here's why we went to the moon. Prior to that State of the Union address, President Kennedy met with the top scientist of the time. His name was Frederick von Braun. And Frederick von Braun from Germany was the top gentleman of the time. He was the NASA coordinator. And he said, Mr. von Braun, I'm President of the United States. I can give you all the resources that you need. I can give you all the money that you need. I can give you all the resources. I can give you everything that you need. Mr. von Braun, please, Mr. von Braun, what will it take for us to go to the moon? Small, little Jewish Frederick von Braun walks up to President Kennedy with his pointy little finger. He says, Mr. President, what will it take to go to the moon, sir? Yes, Mr. von Braun, what will it take? Mr. President, the will to go to the moon? What will it take for you to be the best coach that you can be? The will to be the best coach. What will it take for you to impact your youth beyond anyone else? The will to do it. What will it take for you to be a better father, a better husband, a better wife? The will to do it. We can talk a lot about it, but talk is cheap. If you have the will, you can accomplish anything. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I appreciate your time, guys. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.